This is one of my favorite riffs of all time. If I had to be stuck on a desert island with just one riff to listen to for the rest of my life, I guess I'd have to pick this one. I don't really know how they played it. But this thing is really cool, where you hit the open 4th string D, and then you do a really strong hammer-on D on the 5th string. And it's such a useful technique, a ghost slur or something. Very cool technique. And then when you go down the half step, that sounds so much cooler than this. This sounds gnarlier. It's like they really want to bleed together, but they can't. They want to do this, but they just can't. What I used to do was still utilize Alzapua, but play all the D's on this 5th string. Just playing more than one note with your thumb on the same string with Alzapua. It would be good for practice. For the second part of that riff, what I would do is just do a descending slur with 4 and 3 here on the 5th string. And I think that's a really good way to practice it. And funny story about that, one time I walked into a lesson with my teacher, and I don't remember what we were talking about, but just kind of out of nowhere he was like, "You ever do this?" And he did this move. And he was like, "You ever do this where you do 4 and 3 together, but you just kind of throw down that combination?" And he was like, "I think that would be really valuable to practice." So that's the same move right here. Throwing them down together right here. And then the slur, and then the fact that you have 2 slurs in a row, that's really good practice. You gotta have the technique to keep that in tempo. And one other way that I've played it is using pizzicato with the thumb, what we call pizzicato. You just put this part of your hand on the string, and you very carefully press it, and then you get that muted sound. So you think like Julian Bream or Andres Segovia, they could do this technique and just make it sound just huge and amazing. The sound I use here is with a click in it. Pizzicato, but with the click. So for the click, I just put the string like in this very far corner, or make sure it hits that edge, and it will click. And here I use it to put a little end on each note and to give it clarity. But when I play it like this, instead of doing 2 D's here, I do an open A and an ascending slur up to the D. It changes the riff a little bit. But it makes it feel like it flows better in this hand. You could do this too, which I was about to get to next. Do a D here on the 5th, 2nd D there on the 4th. Yeah. The most challenging way for me to study it is like this. Where you're doing both D's, D on the 5th string first, and then D on the 4th string. It's very athletic for my thumb, but I've noticed this move for my hand, it comes up in some other music that I play, like as being inefficient. It's something that I like to work on in this riff. I probably practice it this way the most. This move also was pretty new for me. I've never really done it before, where you're doing thumb on adjacent strings, just back and forth really fast. So I think those are all the ways I can think of to play it as of right now. There's always something that I like to sit down every day with and jam on. And what I mean by that is I have one rule when I'm playing it, is I can't break the rhythm. Like if I make a mistake, doesn't matter, you know. Obviously, this is where I turn to rock and metal music. I pick one of these riffs, but I can't think of a better one than this Periphery one. I just sit down and jam, okay? And thumb going back and forth. Once you get a little bit used to it, you've done it a little while, it feels pretty natural. It's just like, can you groove and keep the beat? And I really want all my music to be able to do that. And learning rhythmic pattern like this, that the first time you hear it, you're just like, what is that? What is that random sequence of notes with seemingly no correlation? Learning a pattern like that, it is so good for your memory, I think, because if you can take correlations and events that seem insignificant and make them significant, I mean, it just helps you do that more all the time. This technique is called Alzapua, where you use the thumb like a pick thing. Mainly it means coming back with the thumb. Lots of cool stuff. But practicing it, I think, is really good for your thumb. I mean, I feel like you can't have a strong enough thumb. So I think it's really, really good to practice, to strengthen your thumb and to make your thumb more athletic. Then if you're into P's and you have a couple of thumb notes in a row, it's just no big deal at all. I just do very basic kind of back and forth stuff with the thumb, or just basic on one string. Just try to get the thumb loose and, you know, get a very strong angle. Okay, that's, I think, all I have to say. Man, I love this riff. Check out my Patreon page if you want to support. I'd sure appreciate it. Let me know in the comments your own ideas for practicing metal riffs on fingerstyle guitar, or if there is something you'd like to see covered in this segment, because I love it. 1, 2, 3.